Welcome back everyone. Today I'm going to review this very interesting book called Notorious RBG by Irin, Carmon and Shana Knizhnik. This book is about Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who recently passed away in the United States. She was an Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court, and this book is about her life and her legacy. Let me quote now two quotes from Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and they will set a picture for this video now. Fight for the things that you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. The second quote is, the pedestal upon which women have been placed have all too often, upon closer inspection, been revealed as a cage. Now let's start from the start. She joined Cornell Law School and she started to study there. She was a part of the first batch where girls were allowed, and the ratio was very thin for the girls. The boys were very huge in number. And she says that parents wanted their daughters to join Cornell because the ratio difference was very huge, and they believed that their child would find a suitable match there, and if they couldn't find there, then they were hopeless. She told that in her first semester she didn't do a repeat date, but why she chose her husband Martin, her now husband Martin, was because he saw the brains that she had, and not just her beauty. Most guys in those times didn't look at the brains that the women had, but only their beauty. She was a part of the batch that first allowed women into this law school, and on this occasion her dean gave a dinner and asked women one by one to stand up and tell him what were they doing after occupying a seat that could have been given to a male. Then when she was at Harvard Law School, she also had a 14-month baby already, but she still made it to the law review, which was considered a very great deal back then for a law student to write a law review. Her babysitter left at 4 p.m. and she then gave time to her daughter till she finally went to sleep. And after that, she would sit late into the night and study. And then in the third year of her husband in the college, he was diagnosed with virulent cancer, and it became more hectic for her because her husband was also a student and she was also a student. So what she would do, that she did her own work first, then also typed the notes that her husband's classmate gave her, and then barely got 2 hours of sleep and then got back to work again. When she graduated, not a firm in New York wanted to employ her just because she was a woman. Then at that time there were also laws in US that were actually and blatantly discriminative against women. And then there was this women rights movement that went on in US in 1970s, and she became a part of that movement. She did not really protest because that was not really her thing. She didn't go to the protests, but she took part in these protests by doing what she did best, that was through law. She started to take up cases that showed blatant sex discrimination, and she argued her first case before United States Supreme Court in 1973. The name of that case was Frontero versus Richardson. In this case, a woman in US Air Force wasn't getting a house allowance, whereas her male colleagues got a house allowance. All the members of the United States Supreme Court, means all the judges, were male. Now Ruth Bader Ginsburg had a difficult job to persuade men who thought that there was no such thing as sex discrimination. She was able to not only persuade them, she won the case. The lady got the allowance, and then she argued another case before the Supreme Court. In this case, she took up a case of a man. There was a man whose wife had died after giving birth to a boy. He decided to take care of the baby and became a house husband. There was a social security benefit called mother's benefit, which was given to a woman if she was a sole parent. But this man went to the office of the social security office and told them to give this benefit to him also, but he was denied because he was a man. They believed that a man would work but a woman wouldn't if she had a baby. So this was the kind of blatant discrimination, sex discrimination, because of which even a man suffered. In the first case, she showed to the court that this was a discrimination against women. But in this case, she showed to the court that how sex discrimination impacted not only just women but a man. And she got a unanimous judgment in the man's favor. The case was a perfect example of how gender-based discrimination impacted both sexes. She argued 6 cases in front of the in the United States Supreme Court, and she won 5 out of 6. Also, she was not a very good cook. Now let's talk about her personal life. She was not a very good cook, and that's why her children forbade her from entering the kitchen. On the other hand, her husband, Marty, who was also a leading tax lawyer, was a brilliant cook, and he has also written a cookery book. She was confirmed to United States Supreme Court to 96-3 in the United States Senate, which comprises both Democrats and Republicans. She was nominated by a Democrat president, a liberal president, but still there was bipartisan support seen while her nomination was made. She was appointed by a liberal president as a liberal judge on the court, but she was not the most liberal judges on the court. The art and way of work that she had was to build consensus in the court. She says, "Fight for the things that you care about, but in a way that will lead others to join you." This is something that becomes really important in today's time, when there is a prevalent cancel culture going on. That if I do not agree with you, you are cancelled. Also, she also has a lot of pair collars which she wears with her judge's gown. But there is a lot of speciality with her collars, that when she delivers a dissent, she wears a black collar, and when she delivers a majority judgment, she wears a golden collar. She also was great friends with Justice Scalia, who was an originalist, whereas Justice Ginsburg is a liberal. Originalists are considered conservative, and they both had extremely opposite views and opinions on many matters, but they were still great friends. They both liked opera and even did one act in opera together. They both traveled to India also together, and there's a very famous picture of both of these. They are chilling on an elephant in India. This friendship between Justice Ginsburg and Justice Scalia tells us that it may be that people have disagreements with each other, but it doesn't mean that we start to hate each other. We need to engage in a conversation with each other. And there's also a very interesting documentary on her. It's called RBG, and it's on Netflix. You can see it, and most of the parts of the book you can find there. And if you do not want to read the book, you can see that documentary. It's 1.5 hours documentary, and you will find it very, very interesting. Thank you very much for watching this review. I'll meet you next week.